Hey, you guys, it's me. Most Targeted Scissors. Hope you're having a good day. As you guys know, I have left the Hickory, Longview, North Carolina area, and I'm somewhere else. Don't mind the picture of the law enforcement behind me, but I moved far, far away in a galaxy far, far away. Um, Trying to keep a low profile. I will tell you that there's nowhere you can go that they don't know where you're at. So I've spent today, I'll tell you about my stressful day. I haven't done a live video about myself in a long time. Anyway, I've got this paperwork. I have to move it real quick because it's my divorce paperwork. File for my divorce. In the town I'm in, I went to the courthouse filing for my divorce. Went to the courthouse and I needed a notary. No notary. I drive down the road 2 or 3 blocks to the Register of Deeds. No notary at the Register of Deeds. I go to a mail place that does the mail and does copies and stuff like that. And online said, they have a notary there. I go in there. No notary. Now, granted, everywhere I'm going, everybody's polite. In the place where I'm at, everyone is polite. It's a totally different animal from where I came from. People are just polite, slow paced. Never had a bad restaurant experience. Never had a bad Walmart experience. It's all pretty dang mellow, and I appreciate that. So low key, trying to keep my nose clean. So then I go to a security, an employment security union. No notary. I go to the State Employment Security Commission. Walk in, pretty little blonde girl, tell her what's going on. She said, oh no, the last place said you have to be a member. They have notaries, but you have to be a member. So I go to the State Employment Commission, pretty little blonde girl sitting there. I said, ma'am, I'm just trying to get my divorce notarized. She said, no problem. Are you a member? No, I'm not. And I'm thinking, it's getting ready to go downhill now. This is the 5th place. She said, $10 and I'll fill out anything you need. Every time you want to come back, it's free. You pay $10 up front. It's taken care of. I'll remember you. I said, great. Pay her the $10. We go through all the paperwork. She doesn't really know what to do. And in these divorce packets, it's like reading hieroglyphics. It's hard to find out. It's hard to figure out what you're supposed to sign, what the sheriff's supposed to sign, what your ex-spouse is supposed to sign. It's very difficult. I've been really triggered and traumatized since I started this process, but I should have done this process a long time ago. Anyway, now I go back to the courthouse. And each time you go to the courthouse, because the terrorist won in America, you got to take your belt out. You got to take your stuff out of your pockets. Got to take your cell phone, your sunglasses, your keys, and put it in a little thing. And then get on the other side of the metal detector and then put it all back on again. Just pain in the ass. We get up in this little room, back to the clerk of court. I said, ma'am, I got notarized. I need to file this paperwork. She said, great. She said, I'll help you. She's really low key, real quiet. And she's filling it all out. She's telling me what I need to sign. I missed a couple things here and there. She's helping, but they cannot give legal advice. But the whole time it's comfortable. It's a little bitty area about the size of the room I'm in now. So people are coming and going, and I'm just trying to maintain my composure. I'm trying to stay cool, calm, and collective. So we get to the very end. She's like, well, this is all great. She said, we got it all figured out. We got it all documented, but you have to have your ex's address. I said, I don't have her address. All I have is a P.O. box. She said, well, without an address, you can't do anything. I said, what? They have to be physically served. I said, well, do you think the sheriffs, because they know where we're at? I mean, cops know where you are. They know exactly where you are. And with my ex-wife, she's still, after being busted 4 years ago for fentanyl and everything else because she's that way, she should be in prison for 20 freaking years. I'm not joking. She should be, for all the hell that she did to me. And then ever since then, like I said, she's bad news. And supposedly her life is getting cleaned up. But they should know where her address is. So I'm like, well, listen, I said, let me call the sheriff's office so maybe they can assist. So I call the sheriff's office and I tell them what's going on. Well, we can't do that. I said, listen, I don't want to know her address. You guys are going to serve her. You're going to be the one that knows. So you don't even have to tell me what that address is. You guys just serve it and go and do it like it. Okay, well, I'll send you to the civil division. So I'm on the phone for 10 minutes because when you talk to the sheriff's department or any police department, that is the last department you will ever go for accountability. Hence my story today. How you like the video? Pigs in uniform donut feast. Anyway, finally I talked to the girl, and now I'm getting I'm triggered. I'm triggered. I'm standing there in this little bitty small room, and there's this guy sitting there, and he's very loud. He's a loud talker, very loud talker. And he said, ma'am, he said, I need to get a paperwork from the judge saying that I'm mentally ill and I can't take care of myself. And she says, okay, well, I'll go check this out. And the woman goes out back. 3 minutes later, she comes up front and, well, sir, because you're mentally ill and because you're incompetent, that's what he said, incompetent, I can't even give you the document that says you're incompetent. You have to hire a lawyer. So that flipped me out, saying this man is asking for his own paperwork and they won't even give it to him. So now that just enraged me as well. So I'm still sitting there being patient. They still don't answer the sheriff's office. So I talked to her. I said, what can I do here? She said, listen, it's filed, so it's in the system, but it goes nowhere until there's an address. No address, it goes nowhere. It's just floating in limbo. As soon as it's served on her, then it's the 30-day waiting period. She said, but you can go to the sheriff's office and see what they can do. Because why? Because we know that sheriff's offices and police departments know where people are. They know where you are. If there was a warrant out for my arrest right now, even though there's not an address for me to be found, they would come straight to me. This is what I mean. Just because I don't have an address doesn't mean they won't drive right up in my driveway and find me. Because they track everything you do. They know every single move you make. So, I go to the sheriff's department. Sheriff's department room's about this big. It's crowded, a lot of people in there. And I walk in, walk to this window. A woman's there. I said, listen, ma'am, I'm trying to file for my divorce. I said, I need to get my ex-wife served. I said, I do not have an address. All I have is a P.O. box. Is there anything that you can do or recommend to help me? She said, well, you'll need to talk to our civil officer. He's the one that handles that. I said, well, I've been on hold with them for 10 minutes and they haven't answered. Well, she said, just walk to that window, you'll be fine. So I take 2 steps. She says, wait. That officer that just walked in the door will help you. Hence the beginning of my day. We're surrounded. This little bitty room, chairs, 2 aisles of chairs, little bitty room. I mean, it literally is probably 5 feet wider than the room I'm in now. It's probably like a 12 by 12 room. It's small. There's like 6 to 10 people in there. So this cop comes in. His name's Roney. Oh my God. Men in the audience, you're going to know the person I'm explaining right now. You remember the kid that got picked 8, 9, and 10 when you played dodgeball, baseball, kickball, and soccer in the gymnasium? It's the kid that got picked 8, 9, and 10. Now, he got picked 8, 9, and 10 because he had no physical abilities. But he was always the kid that talked about how cool he was. He was always the kid that said, oh, no, I don't masturbate. I don't have to. I've got all these girls. And you look at him, you're like, this dude's going to be a virgin until he's 40. This is the person that is standing in front of me. As soon as I see his face, I know what's about to happen. Now, I get easily triggered. My PTSD I'm beyond on my PTSD. I'm so stretched that I could break at any moment. So me just sitting there silently and saying, Jesus, 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 Jesus is just null and void to this point now. I am literally at my wit's end in this whole journey known as my existence. So I look at him and he's standing in the middle of everyone. He's got this stupid freaking look on his face. I said, yes, sir. I said, I'm filing my paperwork for my divorce. I need to have my ex-wife I need to have her served. And all I have is her post office box. I'm wondering if you could look her up. And before I got that out of my mouth, he's standing here with the dumbest look on his face. You don't know where she is? Now, because I'm a targeted individual, because I have PTSD, because I get triggered very, very easily, I have to trap my emotions. I have to bind everything inside of me. I have to check and recheck, rethink, check to make sure what I'm hearing, make sure that my brain is interpreting exactly what's being said and done to me. I have to think about to make sure that I'm not misrepresenting in my own head what's happening with this person in front of me. You don't know where she is? I said, I've got a post office box, and I know that doesn't help, but she lives in Caldwell County. Well, if you don't know where she is, I don't know what to do for you. And I take a step back, and I just stare at him. It's almost like when you're a kid and the first time you see two dogs get hung up, you're like, that's odd and strange and weird all at the same time. You're mildly disgusted, but it's somewhat entertaining, like a bad wrestling match. You're just like, I'm just staring at this person, and I'm wondering, there's no way he tied his shoes by himself this morning. What do you want me to do? If you don't know where she's at, how am I supposed to know? And I said, are you serious? I'm trying to remember because I blacked out instantly. Boom. Instantly, I blacked out and lost all hope. So I'm paraphrasing what I think, but I will probably be a lot more polite now than when I was standing there. I looked at him and I said, are you serious? And that look was just like a smile, like, yeah, I got you now, boy. I said, are you that fucking pignorant that you talk to me like that? I ask you a simple question. You're a fucking welfare recipient and you want to talk to me like that? And then he laughs because he knows what he just did is what he planned on doing. He's a freaking pig. Are you that pignorant? By this time, it's like a Bigfoot in the woods. All the sounds stop. There's no birds chirping. There's no crickets chirping. Everything is silence and everybody's focused on me. And I said, it's pigs like you that make people like me hate you. And when I said that, my voice was 12 octaves higher. It's pigs like you why we fucking hate you. You fucking welfare recipient. And this woman over here, and the whole place is quiet. They're like, ooh. And this sheriff over there that I first talked to, she said, sir, you need to leave. And I was getting ready to just let her have it, but she hadn't been rude. And I walked out the door. All great interactions. It's been a very, very stressful day. And I've had good interactions all day long. I mean, it was like 45 minutes at the courthouse for the second time. 45 minutes and I'm standing there in a little hallway and everything was cool and calm. And even when I was being triggered by the mentally unstable man, I still kept my cool because I'm under immense amount of stress. And I maintained everything. And then I get around a bunch of freaking cops. And where I'm at, these cops here have a horrific reputation. They are worse than Longview Police Department. They're worse. But there's not as many of them, and they're spread out farther, so it's not as encompassed as it was in Longview. They're spread out. You don't have to. You may see a couple cops a day, but it isn't like where I came from, where there's cops on every freaking corner. But the way that freaking garbage pile of freaking pig manure talked to me and treated me is astounding, because I go out of my way as a Southern gentleman to be polite, even when someone's not being that way to me, because I have to, because I don't like going to jail. I don't like laying hands on people. So I do my best to be quiet and be polite. And this dirtbag welfare recipient, well, if you can't find her, how are we supposed to find her? God bless. Pignorant welfare recipient.